All right, I think we're live again. We're so sorry. Dr. Malala and I came online earlier on and we had to go off because we realized that we were not streaming on Facebook and we didn't want to cut some people out just simply because something went wrong. All right, so we're back live now. If you're here, you have a friend who needs to be here, you have someone who was here before, please tag them right now, send them a message and let them know we're on and they can join us right away. Thank you and welcome. I'm going to go ahead and play Dr. Malala's profile while we get her ready to come back on screen. We are so sorry for the technical glitches. We are sorry about that. Okay. I'm going to be playing her profile for those who weren't here earlier on so that you know who is going to be speaking to you today.
Dr. Lola Okiowu is a trained medical doctor and an autism professional. She works with parents of children with speech delay and autism by equipping them with tools and strategies to help move their children from little or no words to language explosion. She is the founder of Autism Renewed, an online consulting practice that focuses on helping children navigate developmental challenges and thrive. She is the host of the Autism Renewed Conference, an annual conference put together to educate parents and the public on how to help children overcome developmental challenges. She has a vast knowledge in language development, nutrition, and behavioral management. With these, she created her signature program as the Milestone Accreditation Program. This is a comprehensive training program that teaches parents how to help their children overcome challenges in speech, language, social skills, and behavioral management and begin to thrive. Dr. Lola believes in putting the power in the hands of parents because a well-informed and equipped parent provides a child with a parenting advantage that helps them to navigate through challenges and triumphs.
All right, so welcome back. Welcome back. I'm going to bring Dr. Omola on screen right away. All right, welcome back, Dr. Omola. We're so sorry.
I know. No, these things happen. I know.
All right, so we'll just allow you to go right into it and I will be backstage. Okay, before we went off the first time, we were talking about how parents, when it's time, for conversations about children who need extra or special need. And Dr. Mola has just educated me a few minutes ago that even using the term special need for a particular child is already putting some sort of not a stigma, if you like, already labeling the child. Or I mean, if you can see, after all, as intentional parents, as teachers, we believe that children learn differently. So every child should be, raised based on how they learn. So why then do we label a couple of children just because someone diagnosed something? Why then do we leave every other thing and then put a tag on them, autistic? Put a tag
like
on
Coach
them.
Do you always believe in the personalized education plan for every child?
Yes.
Every child,
exactly.
even all your children.
Yes.
And that's what it is. Yes. So in that plan, what it's going to look like will be different. So it's special. Each child's plan is not special. It's special and unique to your child. So for me, that's how I look at it. And I think that the more people begin to look at it this way, it begins to downplay the stigma and it begins to help you individualize the child and support the child's unique need and not sit in the place of the diagnosis and already assume the child's ability or limitations. So I hope after my session today, people begin to look at things differently.
Yes, I think a lot of people would, because I mean, this is probably the last time I'm going to call a child special need, basically. As in, so I've taken my own lessons like very early in the class and all that. You know something, it's even empowering for the parents, because the moment you stop thinking of a child like that, because as soon as you accept that this child is has needs special need, what happens is you just automatically put a sense of overwhelm in yourself.
Exactly.
So you become overwhelmed, as in,
Yeah.
automatically. Yes, we know that the needs of this child could be more, or could be different, and simply I mean, you probably need to give more attention. But hey, that's the
Exactly.
need of the child. The child just needs
Exactly.
a little more time. That's how it is, basically. After all, some of us say, I am loud, it's my temperament. I am quiet, it's
Exactly.
my temperament. Just accept me the way I am. All right, ma'am, I'm just going to go backstage so that you can flow. We've taken enough time already.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Coach Marybeth. Thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job with the parenting through mentorship with the mentor parents. And by the way, I'm part of the mentor parent that Coach Marybeth mentor parent community or group that Coach Marybeth runs. And I know I'm a professional, but I'm also an intentional parent. And having been on this intentional parent journey, trust me, Coach Marybeth is one of the people that has really been part of my journey. She's part of the people in my corner. Let me tell you. So if you want me to cut soap for you, I need to enroll for the mentor parent program that Coach Marybeth runs. So thank you once again for the amazing job, the amazing conference, amazing speakers, and amazing work you are doing to empower parents on how to be a mentor to your child and support your child on the journey to purpose. So today I was given the topic how to help a child with special needs live a wholesome life. And I'm sure if you were there for the earlier part when we're having the discussion, you will know that I don't particularly like the word special need. Because I believe that you already put a label on a child. Yes, I understand the need for the term, maybe to try to educate the public or educate people on the unique need or situation of a child. But I always say, whether you're parenting a child in quote with special needs, I will put it in quote, it's still parenting. And for every child, their needs are unique. Every child is special. So ability to individualize your child and find out the needs of the child and how you can best support the child. Because what happens with when you have a label is people begin to deal with the child from the place of a diagnosis. And when you deal with a child from a place of a diagnosis, you already put certain limitations. I know even professionals are guilty sometimes. A child already has a diagnosis: Down syndrome, dyslexia, ADHD, autism, cerebral palsy, and the child is now dealing with certain things. They take the child to a profession. The first thing is that, oh, this child has Down syndrome. So they automatically assume that the child is acting this way or has this challenge because of that diagnosis. Meanwhile, there's some conditions sometimes that a child that doesn't have a diagnosis is manifesting some of those things, and no one relates with the child and say, oh, the child nothing can be done. People begin to think, what can be done to support this child? Even things like behavioral issues. Sometimes they assume it's because of the diagnosis the child is having this behavioral challenge, then nothing can be done about it. That's not true. So today, my perspective is that every child is special. Every child need is different. So that's just it. And I know Coach Mary talks about for your children, personalized education plan for every child. So that is what we're talking about. It's just that what will be inside the personalized plan will be different. Yes, your journey is different. Yes, the process may be different, but trust me, what you need is being skilled and being equipped in helping this child navigate the challenges they have and begin to thrive. So when I'm going to start today, that's the first thing I want to first of all clarify. I believe every child's needs are different. So whether your child has gotten a diagnosis of Down syndrome, of autism, cerebral palsy, or developmental delay, or whatever, to me, it doesn't really matter in quote. What that does for you is that it just identifies the challenges the child has and what you need to do. That's where I look at it. So you have to be able to individualize your child and be able to support your child to begin to thrive. But parenting a child permit me to just use the word in quote, special needs, begins with you as a parent. Yes, like Coach Wendy Ologe will say, parenting is about you, the parent first, not about the child. The same way here. Because the truth is that the more knowledgeable you are as a parent, the better you become as a parent will always reflect on how your child turns out, regardless of the challenges they face. So I'm going to ask you, as a parent, who are you as a parent? Because what happens is that when someone has been labeled to be parenting a child with special needs, the child has a diagnosis, like Coach Mary was saying, suddenly it kind of like some parents just take on a persona, become overwhelmed, just like, have this. Is some people even like they begin to lose themselves because it looks like the whole world has come down. Some people feel like their life is finished, guilt, fear, shame, so many things. But when you begin to think about it, that it is still parenting. Who are you as a parent? That's number one. Then who are you parenting? I find that very funny because people would tell a child special needs and diagnosis, and it looks like everything about the child is the diagnosis. You ask them, can you tell me about your child? He has Down syndrome. And I'm like, okay, yeah, tell me about your child. And like, they can't tell you about their child. So the fact that a child has a diagnosis that means he doesn't have a personality. He doesn't have things that he likes. He doesn't have a love language. He doesn't have a temperament, or he doesn't even have a learning style. Does that mean that? Is that all there is to your child? The diagnosis? Tell me about your child. He has ADHD. Okay, and so the diagnosis. Okay, tell me about your child. Who are you as a parent, first of all? Who are you parenting? Do you know who you're parenting beyond the diagnosis? So you have to begin to look at your child from a different lens. That's the first thing. Not always from the lens of the diagnosis or the special need in quotes. Okay? Are you parenting your child from a place of challenge or diagnosis, or from a place of the mighty seed that God has given you, that has a child that has a destiny, but is challenged at this point? He's going through difficulties, but this child is a mighty seed. This child has a destiny, and God has entrusted you to parent this child on journey to purpose. Through which lens are you looking at the child? From the place of the diagnosis? What the specialists have said? Oh, the specialists have said this. The teachers have said this. Okay, what are you saying? How are you seeing your child? Because the ability to see the child beyond the diagnosis is what helps you to put your journey in perspective and to be able to help the child navigate and begin to thrive. I know we all know the popular Pastor Nick, the man that, is challenged. He doesn't have arms or legs, but look at him today. He's a public speaker. He's married with kids. And when you hear his story, we hear him say that his parents never saw him through the lens of that challenge. They saw the greatness. So even learning to dress himself, learning to be independent, he said it was very tough because his parents did not spare him. They were very tough on him. They stretched him. Why? They were seeing the leader in him. They were seeing the public speaker, the person that was going to change his world. They were not seeing his diagnosis. They were not seeing his challenges. So that helped them to support him. And he's thriving today. You understand? Fine, he might still have some challenges, but he's equipped to navigate and to thrive in his world. So how are you seeing your child? To raise a child that is wholesome, that has a wholesome life. Do you understand? I like to use the word thrive because thrive means to flourish, to prosper. And Bible says that I'm a Christian. I wish above all things that you be in health and you prosper even as your soul prosper. God wishes that our children prospers. Remember, you're a co-creator with God as a parent. When people say these children are not really ours, they are God's children, and has entrusted them in our hands to raise them for a purpose. For a purpose. So what are you seeing the greatness in your child? I say the child cannot walk. Yes, today the child cannot walk. Doesn't mean the child will not walk. That's why even as a professional, I don't say a child can never do something. So when I hear some of my colleagues say this child will never, you are not God. So don't say a child can never do something. I don't believe that. Even science is evolving. There are conditions today that years ago there was no treatment, there was no cure. But some of those conditions today, some of them there's a cure. Some of them there are better ways to manage it. So what does that tell you? That means some children that had that diagnosis maybe years ago, and someone just accepted the norm. Some of them didn't thrive. But some parents that did not accept the norm were able to help their children navigate. So even in science, yes, you can say that according to what science is saying now, these are the things, but don't ever say never. And as a parent, don't ever accept never. I'm not saying you can fight with your professional. To see your child through the lens of the mighty seed they are. I tell my clients when I ask about their children, how is your champion doing? Because I'm seeing a champion. That's what I'm seeing. I'm not saying you're telling me I know these things are there, but I'm seeing the champion, the greatness in that child. Because that what helps you to fight, to navigate, to face the challenges and believe in your child and be your child's best advocate and be able to support your child to thrive. Okay. So for you to raise an wholesome child, it begins with you, the parent. And why did I say that? Because you cannot support your child effectively if you as a parent are not standing in the right place emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, that you're supposed to be standing to support this child. Because the journey may be tough, it may be rough, and you need all these things in place. Okay, so I'm going to talk about you need to raise a wholesome child, any child. And now we're talking about a child with diagnosis. You need information, you need knowledge. First of all, it takes you to intentional parenting. And I like how Coach Wendy Oluge will say it. She will say intentional parenting is not about perfection. It's about knowing that you need to be trained. And that's what it is. So when you wear the lens of an intentional parent, you are able to do what is right for yourself and be in the right place and be able to help your child. So first of all, you need information and knowledge. And that information takes you to defining who you are as a parent, first of all. And that information helps you to become an intentional parent. You know that you're on an intentional journey. Then you, as an intentional parent, you ask yourself, or I'm asking you, do you have the skills that you need to help support your child? Before I go to the child, I'm talking to you first as a parent. And what skills am I talking about as an intentional parent that has a child with additional needs, or we call it special needs, or needs a little more or different from others, or is on a different journey? You need emotional intelligence. Because if you don't have your emotions in check, trust me, even generally as a parent, you cannot parent. How much more a child that everybody looks at differently? That's how you see parents. You hear this person said. So sometimes when I read some posts and people are talking about their children, and I start hearing, my neighbor, there was a post somebody was saying on Twitter, my neighbor was laughing at me that my child at this age is not doing this. My own child, my neighbor said, my sister said, the teacher said. You know what I always think? You, the parent, that parent has the greatest problem, not the child. This one said, your emotions are not in check. So that's why the child goes outside. The child doesn't, you hear parents saying, why are you embarrassing me? Is it about your ego? So if you have a child additional need, if you don't put your emotions in check, when somebody says this, everybody's opinion will matter. And you will be lashing out on that child. Because the child does want something that is little. You will react in the wrong way. Because you are reacting because your emotions are not in check. So first of all, you need to be, your emotions, that's the skill you must master as a parent. To parent effectively a child with special needs, to help them navigate their challenges and live a wholesome life. Emotional intelligence. I'm sure Coach maybe might talk about more about that and how you can do that. She has that in her program. Emotional intelligence. You need spiritual intelligence. Yes, you need spiritual intelligence. I know quite a number of people, they'll say they are praying, they find each other for more prayer, for more this, that, they are praying, that people are coming with different suggestions and everything. But most times when I ask people, okay, they are praying, what are they doing? Most people don't even know how to pray. Yes. So you hear people, because what happens is that people begin to show concern. Your family members, they are calling, they say that we are praying with you. I always crack a joke. All those people, they are not praying for you anything. They have good intentions. They show concern, but intentions and showing concern is not enough, and that is not faith, and that's not being spiritually intelligent. Ask this. I always tell people, do this thing. The next time someone tells you on any matter, oh, we are with you in prayers, ask them, what scriptures are you using to pray for me? What exactly are you praying? It's just well wishing. So you have to be spiritually intelligent. It's not every so-called spiritual instruction or advice people bring, or every link, join this program, join that one, do that one. Am I saying those things? I'm not. Am I saying that God is not all powerful? No. But spiritual intelligence entails that you know what to do spiritually. You know how to pray effectively if truly you're praying. I always even crack a joke. The situation you're going to, you don't have the right scriptures to pray, or you're just jumping up and down. This one comes, they wake up 2 a.m., fast for 3 days, go to the mountain, is just jumping up and down. With the God that you're communicating or praying, do you even know? So you need spiritual intelligence to walk the journey. You need resilience. Talking about your adversity quotient. How resilient are you? You know, Coach Wendy talks about the 5 quotients that everyone needs: social quotient, adversity quotient, emotional quotient, intelligent quotient. All those things, as a parent, you must get them in check, because that puts you in the right place to walk this journey for your child. So that's talking about you, the parent. Then you now need information about what your child is going through. And that's why sometimes some parents say, God forbid. Coach Wendy will always say, God forbid is not a strategy. Oh, do you think your child, maybe God forbid, I can never have this thing. Am I saying that you should claim a diagnosis? No. But God forbid is not a strategy. So going to the doctor or going to a specialist to check things out, it's not wrong. It's not unscriptural. It's not wrong spiritual. What it does for you, and I'll go to my next point, is to know what you're dealing with. That's why I tell people that even claim that they pray. If you don't know what you're dealing with, how can you pray effectively? So someone says he's praying about something. That's okay. What did the doctor say? No, me go for I didn't go to the doctor. Okay, so what are you dealing with that you're praying about? How can you pray about what you don't even know? So someone is having a swelling somewhere. And most of the time, have you gone to the doctor saying most of it's out of fear? Because maybe they think that they go to the doctor say they have cancer. Okay, even if it's cancer, at least when the doctor says this is what is there, and you're praying, you know how to direct your prayer. But most of it out of fear, not out of faith that they are doing that. So you need to get information, the right information. And that's what I talked about, not just everybody. My neighbor said, this person said, no, go to the right specialist that can tell you what you're dealing with. So you now know how to best support your child using all the means, both the spiritual means and other things. You are directing your effort in the right way, to the right place. Then when you now have a diagnosis, yes, I said go to a specialist. I didn't say own a diagnosis. No. And that's why I don't like when people define children by a diagnosis, use it to be describing. I don't particularly, because I feel like a diagnosis helps you to know what you're dealing with, not help you to describe your child or to qualify who the child is. Some people say that's how the child, nothing can ever happen. And I asked, like I was telling Coach Mary the last time, that I heard of a 22-year-old. I was hearing from the person that worked with the child, actually. So I've never met, but the person that worked with the child, I was one I was telling me. A 22-year-old that has never spoken in his life, non-verbal, 22. He's been in therapy for years and never spoke. I started working with this person, and within 1 year, the boy started talking. So what does that tell you? This child had the ability all along. So I was telling Coach Mary, but now they term the child special need because now that the child has overcome that challenge, does that now make him no longer a special need child? So you now see where I'm coming from with the labeling. So the things or the challenges that they used to diagnose and now label the child, when the child overcomes it and does not fit into that criteria anymore, so what happens is now removed from the special need to non-special need, or it was never special need all along. Do you understand what I'm saying now? So that's why the diagnosis helps you to know what you're dealing with and how to target and individualize your child and begin to work to support your child and navigate those challenges to thrive, not to own it. And that's when I talk to my clients about acceptance. People have different definitions of acceptance. Some people think acceptance is just accepting the diagnosis, accepting that's how God created your child, that's how your child is your cross. No, for me, that's not acceptance. Acceptance is taking responsibility For me, acceptance is accepting that there's a challenge and taking responsibility to help your child navigate the challenges and begin to thrive. And one of my favorite quotes is by Eva Lovers, is if a child does not learn the way you teach, then you will teach the way the child learns. That's one of my favorite quotes of all time. Because what I've discovered is that, like I said, talked about this 22-year-old guy, that means that he needed someone that understands how to teach him. And until he found that person to teach him the way he learns, he was having that challenge. So every child will learn, but may have a different way of learning. Most of our colleagues or people in school that is attempt non-brilliant, failing exams, most of the time is because they are not taught the way they learn. They're trying to box everybody, to teach everybody the same way. And some people will thrive that way. Some people will not. And that's why putting the power in the hands of you, the parents, is very important. Because what happens, I was telling Coach Mary earlier on, as a parent, when you understand your child and you understand your child's unique needs, then you'll be equipped. You must be equipped. We're talking about information and knowledge now, and being equipped as a parent to know the kind of school or the kind of environment that suits your child's unique needs. Because I find parents taking their children to schools that don't suit the child's needs, and they're putting pressure on the educators and the school and paying so much. And the first thing is this the right school for your child? That a school is a good school doesn't make it a right school for your child. There are many good schools. So you as a parent, if you are not equipped with knowledge, with information, with skills to identify the right school, so if you don't even understand who you are parenting, and you don't understand what is going on with the child, how can you make those decisions? So people put their children in schools that are not suitable for that child to thrive, and they're now saying the school is failing. Oh, I'm paying so much, they are demanding it, yet they have not seen any result. First of all, is it the right school for your child? Oh, because they are the number one school, is the most popular school, that's where my neighbor go. Even sometimes, you can have two siblings that because the children are different, they may not thrive in the same school. Oh, your brother is in that school, he's doing so well, I don't know what is wrong with you, and all that. So that's why I believe in putting the power in the hand of the parents and educating parents, enlightening parents, equipping parents. So when a parent is equipped, they can make the best decisions for their child. Even when a child has to go through therapy, if a parent is not informed, you don't even know how to pick the right therapist. You don't even know whether what they are doing whether they are doing the right things, because the parent is not informed. And as a parent, you're the best advocate for your child. You will not put your child in an environment that is not suitable for your child. No, you will make the best decisions at every point in time for your child, because that's the only way you can help your child to live a wholesome life. That's the only way you can help them to navigate their unique situations and challenges and triumph. Okay? So I said, don't deal with your child from a place of that. I mentioned that seek knowledge. Like I said, the right knowledge from the right people, from the right specialists. Okay? Then seek to help your child build skills, because to live a wholesome life, it's not just math and English. Because in what I do, I work with parents of kids with speech delay, with autism, developmental delays, and all that. So some of the things I will hear is, my child can read. He knows 1 to 100. He knows multiplication. And I always smile. That, do you know that the child can sing or read or even know 1 to 100 or multiplication? Does not translate to functional language, does not translate to the level of, and they now come to that, but the child is not talking, because they assume because the child can sing a whole song from a kiddies program, or the child can write 1 to 100. So they feel like it should translate to the capacity of the language of the child. And I tell them, no. Now, do you know that there are some kids, there's a condition we call hyperlexia. And those are kids that as little as 2, you can give them any book or any piece of paper, any piece of material, and they can read anything. But they cannot understand or make sense of what they're reading. So does that translate to the child's language ability? So equipping your child with skills that help them thrive in life. So stop focusing on just I will hear people say that he has repeated primary 1 3 times, and because of I'm more like, before I ask you about whether your child knows math or English, there's some other things I ask you. I ask you about social skills. I ask you about some other things. A child may not know math and English. I'll ask, what are the other interests of your child? And parents are wondering, what do you mean? A child may still be developing language. The child may like to cook. The child may like arts. The child may like music. You develop those other areas. That's living a wholesome life and thriving. Everything is not math and English. Everything is not coming first in class. No. So your special child, what other unique abilities do they have? Do they like to draw? Do they like to paint? Do they like music? Can they play instruments? That doesn't mean you can't teach a child to play an instrument, depending on the challenge the child has. You have people who have challenges with their hands and legs, but they can blow the mouth organ very well. And trust me, that can take a child places and put them on platforms globally. Pastor Nick does not have hands and feet, but look at the platforms he has to speak globally. Do you understand? So to help your child live a wholesome, begin to think of building skills, life skills, not just do write one, write two, say A, say B. No. What does it mean for a child to thrive? Not writing 1 to 100. No, am I saying academics are not good? No. But remember, education is not even just 1, 2, 3 or math and English. So seek knowledge on how to build skills in your child that would help them to thrive. Skills that will help them to navigate their world. Look at your child. Every child has their unique needs, but yet every child has their unique strengths as well. They have interests. And another thing is that sometimes you may never know their interest if you don't expose them to things. So because the child has a unique need, they now limit it. The child cannot listen to music. The child is not exposed to instrument. The child is not exposed to painting, to art, to different things. Some people don't even take their children out. They just lock them up. Yes, some children may have unique needs, but how can you help them to be exposed to different things? That's how you help them live a wholesome life. That's how you help them to thrive, even in the midst of their challenges. You seek knowledge and skill to navigate. Because what I always tell parents this, for every challenge a child has, whether special needs or whatever area, whether it's speech, whether it's language, what you should be thinking about is what skills can I build in this child to be able to navigate these challenges? Because that's what you do. When you build those skills, it doesn't mean that look at Pastor Nick. Now that he's global, it doesn't mean that the hands and feet are there, but he has skills to navigate his world to thrive. Do you understand? So whatever challenges your child is having, I tell my clients that have children with speech issue, language is a learned skill. And people are like, what do you mean? Yeah, I said it's a learned skill. There are skills you teach the child that will help the child navigate language easily and help them to talk. That's how you think. Skills. You think skills to help them navigate, okay? So I've talked about self, and then the don'ts. There's some don'ts for parents that I'm going to tell you today. Don't compare yourself with other people. Your journey is different. We're all on different journeys. So don't compare yourself with other people. Then don't compare your child with another child. Don't compare your child with another person's child. And even if you have other kids, don't be thinking, oh, the brother is like this. Why is this one not like that? We're all different. Okay? Your journey is different. Then don't judge yourself. Don't blame yourself. Because sometimes friends will think, especially mothers, maybe there's something I did wrong. Some people might even start saying it's the mother's fault. And especially if you come from the African setting, you always say the child that is good is the father. So women go through a lot. And that's why most of the time you see is the women that are running around most times. So I don't want you to judge yourself or blame yourself. I want you to look at your child with the lens of possibility. Yes, they're challenged today, but begin to look at them, with the lens that God sees them as giants, as mighty seeds that have challenges today. But if they can be supported to navigate these challenges, they will thrive. I want you to begin to look at your child from there. Then you need a support system to help a child live a wholesome life, to help a child navigate challenges, developmental challenges, special needs challenges, different abilities, to help those children. You need a support system. And when I'm talking about a support system, you need a support system that is well informed, not just anybody. Both family, but you have to be sure that the people that you are surrounding yourself with are knowledgeable. Not people that will be telling you different things, giving you different ideas, telling you to do different things that are not right, that are not well informed. So you need a support system of people that are well informed, and people that can stand with you in faith, that can stand that even when your faith is shaky or you're having your down moments, people that you can talk to and lift your spirit. Not people that you talk to that after you end the phone call, like you are even feeling worse than you were because it's a journey and there could be bumps along the way. Okay, so you need a strong support system of, and that's one of the things I'm passionate about what I do, because I know that most parents don't have a good support system of people that are knowledgeable. So I'm able to create that balance. So when a parent comes to me overwhelmed and this, by the time I finish talking, and I'll just, I'm not disregarding their challenges, but by the time I finish, I demystify everything for them, and I said, I'll take this step, take that step. They're like, so it's like making me feel like it's not so much of a big deal. A perspective will change. Their faith is boosted. They lighten up again. They're able to pick up themselves and begin to continue their journey. Okay. Then, because intentions are not enough. A lot of people around you, whether family, whether friends, yes, they love you. Yes, they are concerned. Yes, they have good intentions. But intentions and just showing concern is not enough. You need people that are well informed and that can stand with you in faith and that can support you all through the journey. Okay, that's what you need. Then lastly, you need your faith. And when I'm talking about your faith, I cannot take out the place that I was talking about spiritual intelligence of faith in God to walk this road. Remember that I said these children, they are not our children. For those of us that have kids, they are God's children that He has entrusted in our care. And He owes you to help you walk this road and to support you. And the Bible says that children are a heritage of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is His reward. These children are reward. They are gifts to us from God. And the Bible says the blessing of God is make added no sorrow. So if these children are blessings, it shouldn't bring sorrow. So that you have a challenging moment. The Bible says weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. So you may be in the night season where everything looks turbulent and unclear, and your child, it looks like what's happening with my child. No, it's the night season. And that's why you cannot take the place of faith out. And like I always say, science has its limitations, but God is unlimited. So even where science can stop, God is unstoppable. So you need that faith in God to walk this road, okay? And the Bible says I will instruct and I will teach you in the way you should go, and I will guide you continually. It doesn't stop even with our children. It doesn't even stop your journey with the road you're walking, okay? So I want you to be able to have faith in God and trust God through the process, that He will guide you to make the right decisions at every point in time as you help your child to navigate this journey so that they can begin to thrive. And finally, I want to ask you this question. What advantage would it be that your child was raised by you? There's something we call the parenting advantage. So, of what advantage would it be for that child to have been raised by you? Because what I've found is that for so many children, I like to read stories of children that were labeled special needs, that had so many challenges, but now they are older, they've overcome those challenges. I've seen people who were termed non-verbal as children, couldn't talk, diagnosed with maybe autism. Some of them, they told their parents that this child will be institutionalized. This child will never live a normal life. And I'm seeing those people today. They are graduates, some are professors, PhD holders, public speakers, authors, doing great things. And that's why when I talk about the special needs, so what does that tell you? Does that now take them away from the special need? No. So when I see those kind of things, one of the things that I found is a parenting advantage for most of them. They had parents who did not accept that this child is going to be like this. They have parents who did not give up on them. They had parents who equipped themselves with knowledge, who helped them to navigate. I've seen some of them being interviewed, and one of the things they will say, I thank God for my parents. I thank God for my mom. They didn't give up on me. They did not accept that that's how I'm going to be. You understand? They helped me to navigate. They equipped themselves with knowledge. They did everything they could do to help me navigate those challenges. And today I'm thriving. So for me, the power in the hands of the parent, of what advantage will it be that your children or your child was raised by you? So ask yourself that. And that comes with not well-wishing, not just intentions, information, knowledge, being equipped with those right strategies, with the right tools, with the right skills to help your child navigate their challenges, navigate their world, and begin to thrive and triumph. So I leave you that today. So that would be my final word. So think about it. What will be the parenting advantage for your special child? Thank you. I can't hear you, Coach Mary Beth. I can't hear you.
I'm forgetting. I keep muting myself. I'm forgetting. Thank you very much, Dr. Wala. I mean, that was huge. That was huge. And the last thing you said, I think for me, is like the final icing on the cake, the parenting advantage. Your child can be a child that needs more. The child can be a child that is different from the other kids and different from most of the children that you know. What is it that the child will have? And the child can say 10, 20 years from now that this happened to me, or this is where I am because of my parents. And I always say that to parents, like, what is it that you could do differently for this child that many years from now the child would, tie their success or tie whatever it is, in their lives to you. We've heard of many people that have said, oh, I mean, the person is doing it a certain way, and the person goes like, oh, it's because my father did, it's because my mother did this, and all of that. I mean, if you listen to the most successful people in the world, people who have self-made billionaires and people like that, most often there's always the parenting advantage somewhere. I mean, we've heard that Mark Zuckerberg's father, basically, it was because there were computers available in their home at the time, when people did not even have computers in their home, but in his own home, they even had computers that had a network system. So, he could explore all of that and begin to think of softwares and all of that. So sometimes it is what you have put in your environment, the advantage that they have being parented by you. That's what will probably stretch them or help them, explore and be more. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Wola. And then, of course, for this, children with autism and other, developmental needs like this, you cannot overemphasize the parenting advantage. I think it's one thing, as it's absolutely the one thing that will set them apart, that will set your child apart. Thank you so much. So we're going to we're going to look around for questions, and then if you have any question, some of us have children that we say, oh, he's not speaking for so long, he's not this, he's not that. If you have things like this, you may want to ask Dr. Manala right now so that she can make you go and relax, and she can make you calm all that nerves all over the place, because sometimes we have these things and we talk to the wrong people. And instead of making us feel better or encouraging us, they just make us feel like, now wow, your own is bad. So sometimes our problem is because
I'm telling you.
So hey, you have the right person here to talk to.
Please. People don't have the right support system.
Yes.
Some have the wrong support system.
No matter how silly it may sound, please come and ask. If you can ask your friends, you can ask your neighbors, you can ask your sisters. It's okay. Come and ask them.
I'm telling you.
So we'll wait for your questions, and while we're doing that, we will just play another video from the mastermind, since we're talking about that a lot today.
The Mastermind Circle with Kamsi. The Mastermind Circle is a peer mentorship and accountability program where preteens are taught to set termly goals and trained to stay focused on their vision. Goal setting, visualization and vision boarding, daily affirmation, reading club, study groups, inspiration and monthly target session, self-direct and other higher function, skills, monthly coaching, and of course, mentorship by the matron. Do you have a child 8 to 13? Then you need to enroll them for this virtual accountability program. Meet some partners.
All right, so you've met some of our partners. We'll meet some more during the course of the conference. So that's what the mastermind program is like. You have it there. If you have kids between between 8 and 13, or you have a 7-year-old that's about to turn 13 and can sit down steadily in front of a computer and be instructed or have conversations with other children, then they need to be in the mastermind. I mean, the just waiting for a meeting, right? For a meeting of the partners gets me excited, right? Like the partners are meeting tomorrow and I'm excited already. I'm telling you, the
Wow.
partners are meeting tomorrow and I'm excited already. Okay, when they have their study groups, okay, when they have their study
Yeah.
session, because they have like a study group where you actually put
Okay.
questions from you have questions from schoolwork. You actually drop it there
Okay.
during the course of the week. So you're trying to do a homework and it's difficult, you just drop it in the Google Classroom. So on
Okay.
Saturday, they come into Google Classroom and they're divided into two different groups: the kids from year 3 to year 5, and then the kids from
Okay.
year 6 and year 7. Most of them are between this. So basically
Okay.
they come in and they tackle the questions, whether it's in math, in science, whatever it is, they tackle it. So you see,
Wow.
it's not just Kamsi. One child here is like,
Mhm.
no, I can answer that one, and then he goes and then he uses the Google Classroom board and then he answers it and all of that. And someone is like, oh, I've done
Wow.
that, and then he explains what it's like and all of that. There are times they challenge themselves to go and learn the timetable. Sometimes the other time they were doing
Wow.
roots, cube roots, and all of that. So each person is
Wow.
supposed to learn that during the week. So they come during the meeting and they're like, the cube root of this is this and that. So I'm in the kitchen, I am driving. Sometimes I'm
Yeah,
not even at
listening.
home. Right. Sometimes I'm not even
Wow.
at home, but I'm the matron. So I will log in and I'm with them. They're doing
Okay.
their thing. And I'm just excited, just knowing
Wow.
that, you know, so it's a good place to be. So, Dr. Mala, I can't see any questions here right now, but let me ask you one now. At what
Yeah.
point, because we have parents, we've heard, I was saying earlier on, there have been cases where parents would, before you realize something is wrong with your child, is already really really far gone and all of that. So at what point do you get worried that your child doesn't have speech? At what point do you get worried that your child is not responding, and all of that? What point should you get worried and start looking for, or at least start asking questions?
Okay, thank you. What happens most times is that people are talking about intentionality. Most of the time, because nobody really taught us some of these things. Like if I ever told you that ability to walk is a learned skill, you just think that I thought children would just crawl, stand up and walk. Or talking, people just talk. But even though it looks natural, but there's so many things happening at the same time. So because nobody taught us to intentionally look, people miss it until maybe the child now goes to school. And most times, because parents, especially mothers, you know your child so well. Even before they talk, you know what they need. So sometimes we are so proactive to respond without allowing the child to talk. When the child now goes to school, those lapses will show. They don't know your child as much as you do. So when he needs something and he cannot communicate, you start crying. But if he was home, without even crying, the way he looks at you, I know he wants a cookie, he wants juice. You didn't even. So what happens is this: the ideal thing is that people should be well informed even when you have a baby, as baby is growing and developing. Yes, well, of course, when you first have a baby, you don't tend to their vision is not well developed. But as the child is growing, does the child start paying attention to you? Does the child smile? Does the child laugh? Do you understand? At certain like social smile is like 4 weeks or 6 weeks. After some months, the child can giggle, you smile, the child smiles back. Because what I tell people that there are prerequisite skills to language, and people always wonder, what do I mean? They are building blocks. When a client comes to me and say my child is not talking, and I said before you start talking about language, there are prerequisite skills to language. Let me give you an example. When it comes to walking, do you know that when you first have a baby, the neck is not stable? The neck becomes stable. The child can sit
Yeah.
down. The child can crawl. Do you know those are prerequisite skills to walking? So if you have a 10-year-old that is not walking, you first start from the beginning. Does he have neck control? So you have some 10-year-olds that may have cerebral palsy and they don't have neck control yet. So before you can start talking about the walking, you will deal with neck control and the back muscle. The same thing with language. So, but most times parents don't know what to look. So when you have a baby or a child, the things you begin to look out for is the child responds. When the child is months or 6 months, 9 months, when you smile, do they smile back? Do they giggle? Do they look at you? But then by the time a child is 1 year, they should be able to respond to their name when you call them. Even though they can't talk, but they should know their name. They should show interest in people. Not that a visitor comes, the child is hiding and or crying, doesn't want to see people. Do you understand? Things like that. They should be able to respond to their name. They should be able to make eye contact when you're talking to them or you're playing with them. Are they looking at you? Because they are prerequisite skills. Let me give you an example. We're having a conversation with Coach Marybeth. What happened when we came together? We're looking at each other. You initiate a conversation. Hi, how are you? I say, I'm fine. I respond. You talk back again, we start talking. That is talk. The same way with a child. So if a child does not initiate eye contact with you, I mean, at least like, 9 months, 1 year, they should be able to, does not initiate eye contact with you, then the child doesn't have the prerequisite to be talking about language. There's already a delay somewhere. Do you understand? Does not show interest in people, especially even kids of their age. That tells you something already. Do you understand? So that's how you begin to look at it. Then, of course, by the time a child is 1 year, 18 months, they should have a few words, begin to imitate, maybe dada, mama, those kind of things. Yes, every child develops differently. And there are so many other factors as well. Because sometimes it's not only language you're dealing with. So if a child, for example, does not attain all their other milestones at the same time, it's also a red flag. Did they achieve neck control when they should? Did they sit down when they should? Although it's a range, but did they crawl when they should? All those things. And that's why the checkups are also important. Some people, until they see a significant thing, they don't take their children for maybe their 6 months check, the 9 months check that they normally do, those well-being check that you take your baby and you ask you questions before they give the immunization. That's the ideal thing. But most people will just cut corners, get the injection and go away. They don't actually do the checks. When you take your baby to the hospital for all these 18 months, 1 year, part of the things they're supposed to be doing during those checks is asking those questions, especially for mothers that are not experienced. So there should be questionnaires of the things the child should be doing at that time. So if you went for your 6 months and the child didn't meet the questions, even though he has other things, you went for 1 year, you didn't meet it. By 18 months, and they are seeing that this child is still not meeting those things, they will flag it.
Okay.
But most parents won't go, they will just want to cut corners and not go. The queue is long. Do they need it? My child is fine, Jerry. There's nothing. Do you understand? So by the time your child is 2 years and does not have any words, you should be concerned. But language, like I said, is different thing. There's receptive, there's expressive. So a child might respond to his name, might understand things, but he's not talking. That is another. That's a different level. But so I have clients who will tell me they have maybe a 4-year-old who has no words at all. That means that mother didn't know. They just sometimes people, like I talked about, going to the right people will tell you that the child will outgrow it, it will catch up. It's a normal thing because they were speaking to the wrong people. If they spoke to the right professionals, they will say, okay, at 1 year, he didn't have to come back in 6 months, let's see. Come back in 3 months, let's see. So they'll pick it on time. But when you talk to this person, oh, no, that's how my child, he didn't do anything till 5 years. Don't worry, children, you will outgrow all this one that is doing. You'll be fine. God forbid. Correct it. Do you understand? They don't speak to the right people. If you speak to the right professionals, they will monitor and they will pick it. Because what now happens is that when the child now goes to school, the lapses will show. And the earlier you pick it, the better. Because what it tells you that if a child is delayed at 2 years, means that the child might just be delayed by 6 months or 1 year. So it's only a 1 year gap you need to catch up. It's different from a child that is 10 and has a capacity of a 2. That's 8 years gap you need to catch up. So the older a child gets and there are gaps, the more you are widening the gaps without intervention. So the more the child will have to catch up. Because the skills a 10-year-old needs on all areas of his life is different from a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. So parents
Thank you.
must be,
Okay.
yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I thought you had finished. Go
Parents
on.
must be on the look. And let me tell you something, Coach Maybeth, there's something you call maternal instinct. Most parents will have an instinct, something is not right. So
Yeah.
as a mother, when you have that inclination, talk to the right person and trust your instinct. If you talk to the first person, you're not convinced. Talk to the second person, the third person. That is the right person that is knowledgeable. Most times, mothers know. They just disregard it because that maternal instinct, most times, is always very strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the narrative, the fear of stigma, the fear of reality, the same
Exactly.
thing that even when you get the diagnosis, you live in denial. I think that's what's really is the thing. But hey, it's not going to change anything. Whether you live in denial or not, won't change anything. And faith does not say we shouldn't get help. Okay, faith doesn't
Faith is
say
an
we shouldn't
action
go
word.
to.
Faith
Yeah,
is an
so
action word.
exactly. So faith doesn't say go to the people that God has blessed with this knowledge to know what to do. Thank you so much, Dr. Mola. It's been an amazing and enlightening session with you. I'm sure many people will catch the replay. Thank you. You've dropped so
Thank
much
you for
knowledge
having
and
me.
nuggets here that we will come back to. Okay, we'll continue to come back to this video. So the next time I meet someone and there are some of these things, I will come and watch here and tell them, okay, just give me time. I will talk to you again. Then I'll come back, watch, and then when I finish, I'll be like, okay, you need to talk to some other person now. Then I'll be referring them to you. So thank you very much, Dr. Molala. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you for
Thank you
having
for
me. It's
being
a
here
pleasure. I
today.
appreciate the privilege. I
Yeah.
appreciate the platform. Thank you very
All
much.
right, then we do not take this for granted. All right, so we'll just let you go. I'm sure it's almost 1 a.m. Oh my goodness, I feel bad now. Sorry. All right, so let's let you go. All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. We have we're supposed to go off at 5, but because of all the technical glitches we had at the beginning, we started this session about 4:30 instead of 4 o'clock. All right, so I would have to go off right now and allow you go and rest and come back in the next 30 minutes where we would have our early years guru. If you are a toddler parent, if you don't come for this session, what have you gained? So if you're here and you know a parent who is a toddler parent, whoever it is, even if it's someone who has not registered yet, you need to send them a message right now. You need to tag them in the stream. You need to send them a message right now. Look for the link wherever you can get it. Check the Facebook group. Check everywhere. Send us a message. Use the number on the screen right now to send us a message and ask for the link to the next session. But if you are a parent that has a child between 0 and 7, you cannot miss this session. If you're a parent that has older kids, you need to come to this session and understand why you're struggling or why you have certain challenges that you have with your children right now. It will give you perspective. And yes, there's no time that is too late to help a child. Okay, they say the day you wake up is your morning. So yes, your children may not be 0 to 7, but you have children who are still children, and you have certain challenges or certain things that you are dealing with, then you need to come for this session and understand the why behind some of these challenges, because I promise you, a lot of the things that people deal with at age 20 and 30 is not necessarily because of the last 10, 5, or 8 years of their lives. Most often, it's from the very first 7 years of their lives, and that's what Aloy Shima will be talking to us about. She is the foundation guru. Foundation is everything. All right, so I'm going to leave you with another testimonial while we get ready. I think there's a comment here while we get ready for the next session. Now, for those of you who are asking how you can join the mastermind program, you just send us a message with the number on the screen. Send us a message with the number on the screen, and we will respond to you straight up. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kosi. I'm here to say briefly talk how mastermind have impacted in me. It has made me to do my chores and without no one telling me. It has helped me in my academic. It has also helped me to read for 30 minutes and for leisure. It has also helped me to meditate and read the Bible, and also helped me to say my affirmations every day. Thank you.
It's the PTM Annual Conference 2022. Are you ready? For 4 days, we will bring you seasoned coaches and experts from around the world to give you insight, clarity, and equip you guide your child on their journey to purpose. Wendy Ologe, a foremost parenting coach in Africa, Chidozie Eze, a personal development coach for teenagers, Nathalie Lefave, a holistic transformation coach and the creator of the emotion control method, Stephen Bastain, an entrepreneur, author with a passion for empowering young people, Dr. Omolola Okiowo, medical doctor and autism professional, Ochudo Ai, a certified life coach and emotional intelligence, anger management, fear mastery, and neuro-linguistic programmer with an interest in personal development and branding. Kamsi Chima, a budding entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and peer mentor with a huge appetite for learning. David Folaromi, addiction counselor, substance abuse coach, and philanthropist. Etima Omer, exceptional teen mentor, certified counselor, and responsible teens coach on a mission to raise responsible young adults. Alueshima Shapira, curriculum expert, a trained teacher, assessor, and trainer, and early childhood education guru. Ade Jones, full-time house husband, TEDx speaker, author, coach, and therapist, an expert in helping parents support their children who troubles behavior. Wind Anare, an entrepreneur that runs a system that helps young people forge a favorably financial path, amongst other things. And now, our convener and host of the PTM annual conference, Mary Beth Chima, a leading advocate for parenting by modeling and 100% parenting support. She helps parents become true mentors and effective teachers to their children.
For more enquiries,